And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
Welcome to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis, talking to you every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. about anything and everything related to real estate. I am, of course, a licensed California attorney, a real estate broker, and an NMLS licensed mortgage broker. I can be found at michaelgaddis.com or frontierloangroup.com. My special guests today in studio are Michelle Herrera of Michael Gaddis Realty Group. Thank you for taking time to join me today.
Thank you for having me, Michael. How's it going?
It's going really well. It's not raining quite as much right now. It's been, flooding everywhere for the past couple days.
There was a flash flood yesterday.
Yeah, there are like pools
something
everywhere.
to be concerned about.
It is something to be concerned about.
I was worried this morning.
I'm sure. Yeah. Is that why you brought the inflatable raft in your car?
That's necessary nowadays with El Nino around the corner. We're here.
My other guest is Will Afzali, the lending manager of Frontier Loan Group. Thank you, Will, for coming in today.
Pleasure to be here.
Are you staying dry as well?
I am staying very dry.
Yeah, well, this rain is very welcome because we've been in a drought so long. My only hope is that they're capturing this rain somehow. Hopefully someone somewhere is figuring out how to get all this rain that's all over the place into some place that we can utilize it so it's just not rolling off into the ocean. So I wanted to talk a little bit today in the initial segment here about 2016. First, Happy New Year to you guys and to everyone listening. We are now in 2016.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year, everybody.
It's been a long time since I spoke to you. It's been last year's the last time I talked to you guys, but it's good to have you guys
That's
here.
the greatest phase of the last days of December is I'll see you next year.
See you next year.
I'll see you next year. And then it catches you and you're like, oh yes. I will see you next year.
I will see you next year, actually. So I think that's great. So what everyone does when a new year comes is they have resolutions, they have goals, they have all these things that they set. Have you guys set any New Year's resolutions? Will, have you set any?
Well, what are your New Year's resolutions?
To eat as much food as possible.
Oh,
what?
to eat as much food as possible.
As much food as possible.
That's kind of the opposite of most people's New Year's resolution.
I can be a little different, yeah.
Yeah, I see. I could see that, literally. Michelle, what
Good
about
thing I'm
you?
on the radio.
Yeah. Camera might not fit you in the frame there. What you got, Michelle?
My goals are opposite of Will's. To eat as less food as possible.
Oh, wow. That's more of a typical type.
Camera has
yeah,
about 10 or
that's your
15,
typical.
The camera.
So you guys
It does.
Just so you guys
I'm
know.
looking at the camera right now. I'm like, this is not good.
So one of the things I want to talk about, I want to set, besides setting goals and things like that, people, there's a lot of advice that people give people at the beginning of every year. And so an article that I found said the top 10 tips for mortgage borrowers in 2016. So I thought we'd kind of talk a little bit about that because I thought it was interesting. The number one tip they give you is to improve your credit worthiness. So it says your credit profile is important to a lender. When you're preparing to buy a home, they look at your credit. So, you need to take a look and analyze your credit. So that's a really good tip. If you're thinking, or maybe you're renting right now, or maybe you own a house and you're thinking about buying another house, whatever it might be, I think what this is basically telling you is pull your credit report, get a copy of it, see what's going on. Most people don't do that.
Yeah, so you can start taking steps necessary.
Who knows? There might be some weird thing in there that's causing your credit, to go down.
Yeah, some medical collection you had no idea. Yeah. There's little things, and those things are going to take time to get fixed. So it's necessary that you start that process before any pre-approval.
Or people will have like a bankruptcy or...
There's just things on there that they don't even know.
And things haven't just been cleared up yet.
Yeah, I mean, in our loan company, Frontier Loan Group, a lot of times we get people who we pull their credit and they're like, what is that? I didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
Well, and they're expecting like a pre-approval the next day.
That's right.
And you're like, this is going to take some time.
That's a great point you bring up, Michelle, because most people, when you get into that situation, they're in the immediate now. And I think what these top 10 tips tell you is to be proactive rather than reactive. Don't wait until you need something to analyze it.
Yeah.
Take a look at it now and see see what's going
really
on with it.
important.
It is really important, and because you're right, there might be something on there that you could fix now, and then even if you're not maybe thinking about buying a house until the end of the year, or maybe next year, whatever it might be,
It could easily take that time to do so.
Exactly.
And prepare yourself.
Exactly. Okay, number 2 is save for a down payment. It says, although a 20% down payment on mortgage is ideal, it's not mandatory. Many lenders expect buyers to put down at least 3%, aside from the FHA, which requires 3.5%. I think that it's really smart to try to save as much down payment as possible as well. What are your feelings on that, Will?
Yeah, you definitely want to save money for a down payment. I mean, that's the biggest challenge most borrowers usually have is the down payment and paying for closing costs.
Well, I mean, and I think having money down helps in a lot of ways because, take, for example, VA. Even though you can get 100% on a VA loan, if you put money down, it can drop your VA funding fee that every VA purchaser has. So even putting down 5% can drop that amount down. So putting money down definitely helps you. And the reason they do that is because your loan becomes more secure. The more you put down, the more secure.
And the more skin you have in the game, the less risky you look. The better terms you're going to get, the better rates you're going to get.
I think just having money put aside is important in general because once you get into a home, you want to purchase new furniture, you want to, do some remodels to the home, and it's necessary to have some type of savings.
Well, I think that's another good point.
What I mean? Don't just save for the down payment. You need to save for a lot of things.
Well, that's a very good point because
maybe to move as well.
People move.
Yeah.
I mean, people buy houses.
You have to buy
and
boxes.
They move in, and all of a sudden they're like, "Wait a minute, I don't have any
I have
furniture.
no money left." Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I don't know what to do. So they're living in these empty houses, but they have a house. So
Count
you're right.
for something.
So plan that you're going to maybe need money post purchase. So have a little bit of funds built up.
And how much is depends on the borrower, but definitely talk to a loan officer and they'll advise you.
Absolutely. Number 3, it says seek pre-approval. So, and this is something that we've talked about on previous shows numerous times. We preach this and preach this. Before you rush into house hunting mode, get a mortgage pre-approval for many, many reasons.
How much sooner do you think that they should start seeking a pre-approval?
Well, I mean, if you're beginning to think, if you're with your your significant other and you're like, I think this is the year that we buy a house, the first thing you do is you try to talk to a lender. And see what you can afford, because I know so many people that as soon as they make that decision, they jump on one of these online Zillow.
Yeah, they start looking at homes.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's they're going. They don't even know what they can afford. They're over there shopping, looking at things. Oh, this one looks great. Yeah, it's $1.7 million in La Jolla. Yeah, you can get that, but their pre-approval comes in at $450. I mean,
shatters their dream.
Shatters their dream. So don't even do that. Just get pre-approved. Get an idea for what you can afford. Make sure that there's not any glitches with your credit and that you're not going to have any surprises, because the last thing you want to do is get involved in a real estate transaction with even a basic pre-approval. I think what you really need to do is get something pretty solid, because you don't want to get in there and find out that you can't source your down payment or you don't have continuity of employment, whatever it might be.
There's just so many things that they look at. They look at your last 2 years of everything.
They do. They really look through a lot. So I think it's really important to get a pre-approval. It'll really set your expectations up, and it'll prevent a lot of headaches down the line. So the next thing it says, and I also agree very much with this, which is shop for a lender. You definitely need to shop for a lender and find somebody who's going to fight for you. I know a lot of people like to go to direct lenders, and I'm going to whatever bank. But let me tell you something. A lot of times using a broker is far superior to using a direct lender. Brokers have more flexibility. They have more options. You need to find someone who's really, really going to push the envelope for you, and that's really going to shop for you. I mean, I think Will, obviously the lending manager of Frontier Loan Group, would agree with that.
Absolutely, and every bank has different guidelines and rules for loan programs. So one bank might have a set of rules where another bank will be much more flexible, and your loan officer will know where to take your loan depending on your circumstance.
Well, and I think that's a very good point, and I think this goes right into the next thing it says is 5 research loan types. There are a lot of different types of loans out there. They're not all the same, and you need to understand the ins and outs, the nuts and bolts, so to speak, of each of these loans. So
I think a lot of people just automatically think I need to go into a conventional 20% down. And that might not always be your best option. Maybe you're a veteran,
No,
maybe that's
true.
a little better.
You might have more options that And so when you march into wherever you go and you're like, well, I want this, and you might not even know because you don't understand what options are there. You need to be educated as to what,
what's
different
the best
products
for
are
you?
out there. So we've got a few more here. Let's see. We've got number 6, consider your lifestyle. Number 7, remember to budget. Number 8, consult a professional, and that's something I always believe in. I believe that, anytime you're doing anything at all, and I do this, I always go to the people who know, and I don't go to people who are, part-time or this or that.
Dabbling in something.
I don't do people who dabble. I don't put everything that I have on the line for a dabbler. So I put somebody in who's a professional, who knows what they're doing, no matter what it is. Number 9, don't forget the closing costs. That's true. Keep in mind you're going to have some closing costs. And number 10, beef up your savings account, which goes in line with what Michelle was saying. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's great. So that's the top 10 little tips for getting prepared in 2016. So after the break, we're going to talk to Michelle Herrera, Michael Gaddis Realty Group, a little bit about buying and down payment assistance programs. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
AM 1170, The Answer, and AM1170theanswer.com.
Hey, Craig Sewing here, consumer activist. You hear me every day at 6 p.m. on KCBQ. My goal is to help you win in any marketplace. One of the things that applies to every single person that listens to our show and that's listening right now, you have a credit score, and more likely than not, it has inaccuracies on it. Nobody seems to understand how these things work. Here's what I can tell you. I have a credit expert that's a partner in the show named Aran Sinai. I call him the credit magician. If you've ever had any issues with your credit, you want to get your scores up, maybe a foreclosure, bankruptcy, or maybe just a collection. The city of San Diego can send parking tickets to collections. Crazy. Well, bad credit's a choice. Reach out to Aran Sinai. How do you do that? You go to our website, AmericanDreamElite.com. AmericanDreamElite.com. Hit me up on the contact form. I'll connect you with Aran. AmericanDreamElite.com. If you've ever had any credit issues whatsoever, AmericanDreamElite.com.
Who would you rather have representing you when buying or selling your home? A real estate agent or a real estate and mortgage broker who is also a licensed California attorney? To sell your home for top dollar, or if you're facing a forced sale due to divorce, probate, short sale, or bankruptcy, you'll need the added value and marketing services of a realtor with the knowledge and experience of a licensed attorney and mortgage broker on your side.
Hi, I'm Michael Gaddis. I give you more, but it doesn't cost you more.
Visit MichaelGaddis.com. That's Michael, Gaddis.com. DRE 014654993, NMLS 280011.
Hi, this is AJ Gupta from the Gupta Legal Center. You've probably seen us on the American Dream TV show and the Craig Sewing radio show. We're honored to be featured as the exclusive real estate attorney and honored to be trusted by Craig and all of his top producing realtors. Our office was also featured as a super lawyer representing California's top 5% of attorneys. You may not know whether you need an attorney or not. My suggestion is you kind of have an idea whether there's a problem or a question. So I suggest if you don't know whether you need an attorney or not, give us a call. We're happy to pick up the phone, give you a call back, figure out what it is that you need to have addressed. If we can't or don't know the issue, then we can definitely point you in the right direction. Our phone number is 619-866-3444. That's 619-866-3444, and that's GuptaLC.com. GUPTALC.com.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of MichaelGaddis.com and FrontierLoanGroup.com. And we are going to talk more with Michelle Herrera about down payment assistance programs, because Michelle Herrera is a buying specialist. She works a lot with buyers that have down payment assistance programs, and so we're going to talk to her a little bit about her experiences and get some advice from her on exactly what we need to do with those types of programs. So Michelle, tell us a little bit. I mean, you've dealt a lot with people with down payment assistance programs. What exactly, does a person need to do to begin the process for down payment assistance?
So basically, a down payment assistance program is specified for first-time home buyers, and that meet certain income limits within certain counties. So every county is different. I believe San Diego County is 83,950. Orange County a little higher at 98,785. You have Riverside and San Bernardino both hitting about 80,000. So if you fall within those income requirements, like those limits, then you can qualify for a down payment assistance program, giving you up to 5% towards your first mortgage loan.
So the first step that someone should take, well, first of all, people should realize that
these are available.
Yeah, that these are available, that there are
thing.
possibilities to have these types of
For
products.
a lot of people, and they don't think that.
Right, there's a lot of people
no
listening
idea.
right now who probably don't even realize that they have these types of programs and that you're able to do them.
Yeah, so it's, a lot of people are paying rent. Obviously, they're able to pay for a considerable amount of rent. The only thing that's deterring them from purchasing a home is that they don't think that they can gather up the money to put a down payment. So with a program like this, it's allowing a lot of people to get into, to be first-time home buyers.
Right, because other than a program like this, you'd have to be a veteran to be able to get the 100% VA. That would probably be your only other option.
I think so. Coming in with little to no funds.
Right. So after let's say somebody's sitting out there right now and they say, that kind of sounds like something
These
that
are available.
yeah, maybe I'm interested. I'm paying a lot of rent right now, and I seem to fall in with those income requirements.
I think the biggest thing is, do you fall into the income requirement? Is your credit at least a 620? If it is not, is it close to that? Is it something that you can work towards? Kind of back to what we were talking about before. You want to start looking at this earlier, because say if your credit's just in the 600s, that's something you can work towards, and you can easily get that to the 620, which is the minimum requirement.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the down payment assistance program is geared specifically towards people with, obviously, more lower levels of income. So what kind of expectations should they have about what their affordability is? I mean, obviously the median house price in California is, like $536,000. So, I mean...
Well, so I think this, like a program like this is more beneficial for counties where homes are a little more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County. Will correct me if I'm wrong. It's $417,000 that they'll give you the down payment for. Like that's the max.
That is the max, yes.
Yeah.
So the home has to be $417,000
below.
If you're
Yes.
looking at Orange County, that's typically going to get you into a condo. But you can get, a single family residence in different counties.
So condos are qualify for this particular program?
Yes.
Right. And is there any type, like, how FHA has to have to be an FHA approved condo? Is there any type of restrictions?
With this down payment, it's for an FHA loan.
It depends on the type of down payment, but, there's city down payments, there's county down payments, and there's, like you said, the Sapphire, which is an FHA backed down payment. Yeah. The condo has to be FHA approved, and we can check that for you.
Oh, okay. So that helps us out a lot. So, I mean, there's as I said, this is a program that a lot of people don't know about. Even when I talk to other lenders,
They don't have it.
No, they're not. And so, I've talked to several brokers of other brokerages, and they're like, well, I don't have a down payment assistance program. What bank is that? Who
yeah,
is
they
that?
want to know.
They want to know
immediately.
because it's a great product, and they want it. Yeah, absolutely. They want to put it into their arsenal, but they don't have it, and we do. So that's really nice. So
if anybody or you yourself.
And the Sapphire has, very generous income, criteria. So some people that are like we had somebody in Orange County that was making a pretty high income, just below $90,000, and their current loan officer didn't tell them or didn't even know about this down payment. So they were coming in with a down payment out of their own pocket. And when I brought it up,
When they could have applied for that.
and she goes, well, what's the catch? Who's going to give me the money for free? Well,
It's a grant.
it's literally free money. It's a grant.
It's the National Home Buyers Fund, for everybody who's wondering.
wow.
So take advantage of it. Free money.
So basically, so what now? So let's talk a little bit about this. So let's say somebody comes down. Let's say you send them over to Will. Will pre-approves them. What do you do next? What's the next step after you have them pre-approved?
After they're pre-approved, just start looking for a home, just as if they had any other pre-approval. Obviously, within their purchasing, power.
How challenging is it to find a home that meets the requirements of this down payment assistance?
It goes hand in hand with an FHA loan, so you just have to find something that's FHA approved. You can't even count in the grant. Somebody's just giving you money, and now you have an FHA loan.
I mean, when you represent these buyers, I mean, is it difficult for them to find something that they like that meets these requirements?
I mean, I really think it just depends on the county and, where their level of expectation is. And if you can hit that, then obviously if you're going to be within these income limits, you have to set yourself kind of to realistic standards. No.
Yeah, I think that's probably
And
right.
most people are, on these down payment with the income, like you were talking about, are generally purchasing properties that are about,
It's a-
300,000
yeah, it's a
to
first-time home
350
buyer.
or so.
Yeah, you're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. We're talking to Will Afzali, the lending manager for Frontier Loan Group, and we're talking to Michelle Herrera of Michael Gaddis Realty Group about down payment assistance programs. So that's kind of where I was going. I think where I was going with that line of questioning was keeping buyers' expectations realistic. So basically, the down payment assistance program is amazing, and I think that anybody who's out there right now paying rent needs to do a comparison between paying rent and then buying, because I've told this story before. When I purchased my first home in 2002, my first home was $363,000. I think I bought it in 2002 up in Oceanside. So when I bought my house, the first year I did my taxes, my accountant called me and was telling me the results of her doing my taxes. And I said, when she told me what I was getting back, I was scared. And I said, Are you sure that you did the math right? Because I said, I don't want to be audited. I'm a black and white kind of guy. I'm not a gray guy, so stay in the black and white. And she says, no, I've done it. She goes, it's not difficult. It's just mathematics. She says, I just plugged in the numbers. And I said, but I don't understand. I mean, I've never gotten anything anywhere near this back. And you know what she told me? She says, you've never owned a home, have you? She goes, welcome to the glory of homeownership.
Financing a home.
Financing a home. They don't understand that.
No, they don't, and I think they get so caught up in it.
They'd be like, "Wow, I should buy a home tomorrow."
And you know what else I know? I read an article that said that the net worth of the average renter versus the average homeowner is
higher.
Oh, not just higher. We're talking crazy higher.
Really?
Yeah, I think the net worth of the average renter was like $5,000 to $10,000.
I think in Orange County, rental amounts have gone up like 20-30%. I mean, it's almost higher than a typical mortgage.
It's tough, and because
crazy.
It's supply and demand. It's just there's so much demand out there that's driving it up. So if you can get into a house and get like the interest rate tax deduction off of it,
and get a down payment assistance program,
and get a down payment assistance program,
grant you your down payment. There's really no reason to not be
You might
buying.
get a similar call from your accountant when you do your taxes after the first year, and you'll be asking them, "How did you do that? You didn't do anything weird, did you?" You're going to have the same reaction that I did.
Of course.
And I think that's what people don't know, and a lot of it is that they don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People they just don't know that it exists.
And even when they do know, they don't even believe it. They think it's just something that's just too good to be true, and they close their eyes and they walk away, and that's another thing that's very unfortunate.
No, it is very unfortunate that these programs are available and they're not being as utilized as they properly should. And, people get comfortable. I know they're sitting in their house, they're paying their rent, and they're like, yeah, it's comfortable. But I think that when opportunity comes and knocks, I think
people
sometimes,
don't know what's hitting them.
So all of you listening right now, opportunity is knocking for you right now. Because
right now.
It does exist. And if you don't know, let's say you're listening right now and you're driving your car, you're sitting at home, whatever you're doing, and you're saying, hey, well, you know what? I already own my own home. What about your relatives and friends that you know that don't? Because
help them out.
Yeah, this is one of those things where they're going to love you later on. After they get that, once they get into the home, you're going to be like their best friend. I mean, ever. They're going to be like, you're going to be getting Christmas cards for life from this person because you did this for them. I mean, I'm not just saying it. It's just true. I just tell you from my own personal experiences, of what it was like for me, because I was so reluctant to buy a house.
So many people are. They're scared
I was
of that
so
commitment.
scared. I was so scared.
I have friends, and I'm like, what are you doing with this money in the bank? Go and buy something tomorrow. And they're like, but no, I'm waiting. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? Because for me, fear was what stopped me. I was scared.
Fear stops a lot of people.
I was scared to make a move.
And the money. And like you said, if you got your down payment covered, most people go, well, I don't have enough money for the closing costs. And I've seen both you guys
also get that covered.
I've seen both you guys, structure that with, on your purchase. To get the closing costs covered by the seller. So
I think especially the market that we're going into.
You can come out with no money.
No, that's true. Depending on the market conditions, you can sometimes get that covered as well.
I think with the market we're going into, or what we're going to see in 2016, it's very possible to get into a home with almost no money down.
That's amazing.
I mean,
that's powerful.
I mean, that's something you haven't seen for many, many years.
With low historic rates. So, you got to move pretty quickly.
Well, I think that's the key. It's moving. And it's just kind of like the people who are sitting on the adjustable rates right now that are thinking that because their adjustable rates are really low that they're just going to ride it out. They're just going to keep pushing that envelope and seeing how far they can go until that sucker drops on the ground and they're like, what? I've got to refinance now, and now the interest rates are not anywhere near. No,
what they were a few months ago.
Your window of opportunity just closed.
And the process.
That's the thing. No, go ahead.
And the process is not that difficult. I mean, most people are intimidated by the process, but the hardest part is just grabbing your financials, giving it to a loan officer. They'll underwrite it and let you know what your options are.
Well,
it's pretty easy.
I encourage anybody out there who is thinking about buying a house or has a friend that's thinking about buying a house or a relative to contact Michelle Herrera of Michael Gaddis Realty Group because she is very experienced in dealing with this. And that's important because you have a real estate professional who's experienced in working in relation with a loan officer in this particular product. She knows what to expect. She knows how to do it. That's key.
I've had a lot of people that will reach out to me, and they've already been pre-approved for a typical FHA, and I tell them about this program. They're like, what? I don't have to spend my money on this? I'm like, yeah. I mean, basically, if you already are approved for an FHA loan and you can fall within those income limits, you can pretty much, you qualify for this
added
program.
bonus.
And they're just like, okay, that's amazing. It's the best thing I've heard.
That is what separates. That's what separates one group from another group because there are, as I mentioned, there's a group of brokers out there that don't know these types of products exist. And on the other hand, there are some that do, and they're not all created equal. They're not.
No, and on a $300,000 purchase price, you just save $10,500.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That's a huge amount. Well, that's great. That's a great conversation. After we get back from the break, we're going to talk with Will Afzali a little bit more in depth about VA purchases and VA Streamline refinances and the importance of all of you with your VA eligibility to do something with it. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer.
Intelligent, conservative, AM 1170, The Answer.
Hey, San Diego, Craig Sewing here. Look, one of the things that nobody likes to hear is that they got bugs in their home. Almost all California homes have some sort of bug or termite problem. It's not a cool thing to have bugs running around your house, so I'm going to help you get rid of them. I want you to connect with Lloyd's Pest Control. These are our good friends of the Craig Sewing Show. They can help you. They've been in business, putting bugs out of business since 1931. They'll do a free inspection for you. If you want to get your biggest investment checked out, make sure there's not bugs or termites, go to LloydPest.com. That's LloydPest.com and get a free inspection of your real estate today. Hey, Craig Sewing here. There's no shortage of commercials out there, whether it's TV, radio, even social media. And heck, I even saw an infomercial for solar. You see it everywhere these days. Well, it's because solar is important. It can reduce your electric bill. It's good for the planet. And it's just a great thing to do with your home. It can add value to it. However, there is so much misinformation. Just because somebody is out there advertising does not make them a reliable source. I want to introduce you to my good friends with Baker Electric Solar. The owner, Mike Teresa, I've got to know him really well. This is the only company that I would recommend for you to reduce your electric bill through solar energy. Such a smart move. It's time to do it. Here's how you reach out to them. BakerElectricSolar.com. BakerElectricSolar.com. They will talk to you for free. They'll give you an assessment, and they will help you reduce that electric bill. And again, this is the only group that I trust. BakerElectricSolar.com.
Who would you rather have representing you when buying or selling your home? A real estate agent or a real estate and mortgage broker who is also a licensed California attorney? To sell your home for top dollar, or if you're facing a forced sale due to divorce, probate, short sale, or bankruptcy, you'll need the added value and marketing services of a realtor with the knowledge and experience of a licensed attorney and mortgage broker on your side.
Hi, I'm Michael Gaddis. I give you more, but it doesn't cost you more.
Visit MichaelGaddis.com. That's Michael, Gaddis.com. DRE 0146543 and NMLS 28001.
Going Going through divorce can be very stressful. It is important to know your rights. I'm attorney Ilona Antonian. I'm a certified family law specialist. For over a decade, I've been helping San Diegans win their divorce and custody cases. If you have questions about divorce, property division, child or spousal support, modification of orders, or find yourself in a custody battle, please call us at 619-696-1100. Find us online at expertdivorcelaw.com, where you can download our free divorce, mediation, and recovery guides that I hope you find useful.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. And as I mentioned before the break, Will Avzali, the lending manager for Frontier Loan Group, is here, and he's going to talk a little bit about VA purchases and VA streamline refinances. And the reason we're going to talk about it is because if you listen to the last segment, we were talking about down payment assistance programs and how you could, purchase a home without a down payment. Well, one of the best ways that you can purchase a home without a down payment is if you have VA eligibility. You can get 100% financing on a purchase. Isn't that right, Will?
That is correct. 100% financing. That's very rare.
The best thing ever.
The best thing.
VA loans are very special loans. They are very, very special loans because not only are you allowed to do 100% down, but the underwriting for VA loans and the eligibility requirements are more liberal and relaxed than other types of loans.
Much more liberal. Like you said, underwriting guidelines were very, very relaxed.
Non-existent.
And yeah, exactly. So, and every lender is totally different. So you might walk into your typical bank and they might put a restriction that they need a 620, but like you said, we're mortgage brokers and we can go down to 580.
Well, let me tell you something that a lot of you don't know about. For all of you who are listening right now, and that are veterans or that are active in the military, and let's say you had a short sale a year or so ago, and you don't think you can buy a house, you're wrong. You're wrong.
You are wrong.
VA is one of the only loans that will allow you to purchase another home 12 months from the date of a short sale. That is huge. So even if you don't yourself didn't have a short sale, but one of your friends does, I'm telling you, tell them. Because this is an amazing
People
amazing
think
feature.
They have to wait for a long time.
Well, and there's a reason for that too, and that's because not every broker has lenders that will allow that. And see here, let me explain a little bit, and I don't mean to cut into Will's time, but I just want to mention this. When you have VA requirements, banks put on extra requirements on them. Sometimes banks put extra requirements on them called overlays. Overlays are extra requirements on top of the VA requirements. So in order
it's their own
that's their own rules
Yeah.
on top of the VA rules. So there's two sets of rules.
Can you give us an example? Like credit, for example.
Well, let's use the short sale for example. Sometimes an entity can put a restriction on a loan. I mean, saying if we're going to get a VA loan, they can't have had a short sale in the past 3 years or 2 years. That overrides the VA requirements.
Yep.
Now, a straight VA 12 months. That's all they want. That's all you want. So in this situation, if you go to a lender and that lender says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't do it because you've had a short sale in the past 3 years," that doesn't mean that you can't get the loan. That just means that particular broker or lender either has overlays and doesn't have a lender that doesn't have overlays.
Exactly.
Frontier Loan Group has banks that do not have overlays, which means that we're using the core VA guidelines without the extra added, rules that other lenders are putting in.
You said it right. You said it perfect.
Well, and I think that that's a really important thing for people out there because we live in there's a lot of military in our community.
A lot of military, and a lot of people are not using the VA loan. I mean, it's the best loan.
It literally blows my mind how people are out there renting properties that have VA eligibility and they're not using it.
And they're receiving housing assistance, which they can use to help qualify for a loan.
And the other thing that you might not know is that VA loans do not have monthly mortgage insurance.
Yes.
They do not have it versus FHA that has it. So an FHA versus VA, it is a hands-down victory for the VA. It is a no-brainer for those loans. No-brainer.
No-brainer. Like you said, the VA loan is the best loan. No down payment, easy, flexible underwriting, and no PMI, no private mortgage insurance.
And that's a
huge.
big deal, because what happens is when you factor in FHA eligibility, you've got to factor in the mortgage insurance into it.
Usually, a few $100 a month.
Yeah, so you're talking principal, interest, taxes, insurance, plus mortgage insurance. With VA loans, you don't have that, and the VA rates are very competitive.
Very competitive.
Very competitive rates. So I think the whole point of this is that if you have VA eligibility, or someone you know has VA eligibility, you need to, and they're renting, you need to tell them right now they need to purchase. They need to purchase. I don't understand. It boggles my mind. I don't have VA eligibility, and I wish I did.
I had.
I know.
I wish I did too.
I'm too old to go back and join the military, or I might do it just for the VA eligibility.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's how much it is, and I don't think people realize that.
People don't know.
No, they don't.
Veterans have no idea that these programs even exist.
And there's sometimes I meet people that don't even realize that that they might be eligible. They might say, "Oh, well, I'm not sure. I was only in the reserves for a period of time."
Yeah.
You need to check and see what your eligibility is, because if you have it, I'm telling you,
pursue it. They have no idea it's even.
It'll be a life changer. I mean, it's a life changer. Now, the thing about VA is, when the one kind of thing you got to be careful is the house that you buy with a VA loan has to be in pretty good conditions. They don't like to loan on houses that have any type of deferred maintenance, things like that.
Or safety issues.
That's right. So you can't go and get a house and flip it. It's not one of those types of loans. It's a loan that you go to purchase a house that you want to live in, and that's in really good shape. That's kind of what it is.
You said it. Just like the FHA, they're both government loans. They have to meet a minimum standard.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. I'm continuing my conversation with Will Avzali, the lending manager for Frontier Loan Group, and with Michelle Herrera of Michael Gaddis Realty Group. So, Will, let's talk a little bit more about these VAs. So what are some of the things from an underwriting perspective that might make it better for a potential homeowner to use a VA versus let's say an FHA or a conventional loan?
Well, compared to a conventional loan, like you said, number one, 0 down payment, no private mortgage insurance. But as far as underwriting goes, they're much more flexible with credit. They're much more flexible with your debt to income ratio. A lot more than a conventional loan. FHA is pretty much in line with a VA, but you're gonna save a lot more money with a VA loan.
Yeah, I think that the VA is definitely the way to go, and I think you mentioned the two under that I was hoping you were going to mention.
Yeah,
one is
credit.
One is the credit.
Debt to income ratio.
So you don't have to have perfect credit. So if you're sitting there going, "Gosh, I have VA eligibility, and it sounds like it'd be a great thing, but unfortunately my credit's a little bit challenged," don't let that stop you, because it is a forgiving loan when it comes to that. The underwriting criteria is forgiving, so you don't necessarily have to have top-notch, top-shelf credit in order to qualify. So the other thing that I think you mentioned was that the debt-to-income ratio is more flexible. And what people don't realize is when you buy a home, they take into consideration what your new PITI is going to be. And PITI means principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment. They add in your recurring revolving debt. And they get a number, and they divide that by your monthly gross income.
And your recurring debt is all your minimum payment?
Yeah, the minimum payments. Thank you, Michelle. That's a very good point.
Student loans.
That's right. Yeah, because sometimes when I say, "Well, how much do you owe?" people immediately start telling me what they owe on their credit cards. Oh, I owe $3,000.
Your minimum payment.
That's not what they're looking at. What they're looking at is your monthly obligation.
The $30 monthly payment on that $3,000 credit card.
That's right. That's a very good point. So don't let that deter you. And I think what you should do is, if you're in one of those situations where you're like, "Gosh, it sounds great. I really should own a house. I think Michael's right, and that it sounds like the best thing in the world. We should do that." I think.
Michael's right.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, Michael's right.
Michael's always right.
Not always, but hey. Anyway, I think that what you should do is you should contact Will Avzali of Frontier Loan Group and just let him take a look at your situation. I mean, we do a lot with VA up in my office, and Will is the lending manager there. So it would really do you a benefit to at least let him take a look at your scenario. And even if you don't qualify now, he might be able to tell you when you can or what you need to do to get qualified.
I'll give you the step-by-step blueprint on how to get to to an approval.
Well, that's great. So after the break here, we're going to continue our conversation with Will Avzali, the lending manager of Frontier Loan Group, Michelle Herrera of Michael Gaddis Realty Group, and you're listening. I did. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170. The Answer.
AM 1170, theanswer.com. Hear us anywhere in San Diego and the world. AM 1170, The Answer.
What if you could safely grow your retirement account with a reasonable rate of return with no risk of principal? Hi, this is Dave Harris with Wealth Preservation, specializing in retirement income and insurance planning. There's nothing I enjoy more than helping San Diegans protect and grow their retirement savings. For over 4 decades, we have helped families achieve financial success. If you need help with your retirement planning, please visit me online or call me today. My number is 800-313-PLAN, or visit me online at wealthpreservationllc.com.
Hi, this is John Beaudry, the landscape contractor. There's nothing I enjoy more than helping San Diegans create gardens where they can spend time outdoors in our fantastic weather and save money on their water bills. I've helped hundreds of people create outdoor spaces where they can literally live outdoors. If you need help with your landscape, I'll be happy to discuss it with you for free. No strings attached, just great advice. My number is 619-929-9140, or visit me online at beaudrydesign.com. That's BEAUDRY design.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Who would you rather have representing you when buying or selling your home? A real estate agent or a real estate and mortgage broker who is also a licensed California attorney? To sell your home for top dollar, or if you're facing a forced sale due to divorce, probate, short sale, or bankruptcy, you'll need the added value and marketing services of a realtor with the knowledge and experience of a licensed attorney and mortgage broker on your side.
Hi, I'm Michael Gaddis. I give you more, but it doesn't cost you more.
Visit michaelgaddis.com. That's Michael, Gaddis.com. DRE 0146543, NMLS 28001.
Your home should be a place that you love coming to. Hi, I'm Nikki Klug, interior designer, and there is nothing I enjoy more than helping San Diegans live in homes that they fall madly in love with. I've helped hundreds of homeowners experience a sense of luxury, rejuvenation, and inspiration in their everyday lives. If you need help creating a home that you love, please visit me online at nikkiklugdesign.com or call me at 619-948-7173.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. We're going to be continuing our conversation with Will Avzali, the lending manager for Frontier Loan Group, and with Michelle Herrera of Michael Gaddis Realty Group. So the one thing I wanted to mention before we get started here is I want to finish up a little bit with the VA. We talked a little bit about the VA, and we were talking about purchases, but the one thing we didn't really talk about, Will, is the need for VA Streamline loans. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, as you mentioned it, VA Streamline, it has a lot of names. It's known as VA to VA. It's known as, its real name is actually a VA IRRL, interest rate reduction loan.
So what's a VA Streamline, like a VA refinance? A VA
you have to have a VA loan right now, and all you do is refinance and get a lower rate. Lower your payment. That's all there is.
That's just the verbiage for a VA.
And for all of you out there, and I know I keep saying this, I keep addressing you, but I'm talking to you. Yes, if you have a VA loan right now, and you think your interest rate is a little bit high on that VA loan, you need to do a VA Streamline. The reason I'm telling you this, it is one of the easiest processes in the world. I mean, it is very easy. I am doing one right now for a colonel in the Air Force, and it is so amazingly effortless that you will be amazed. It will be one of the easiest things that you can do.
And why is it easy? Like you said, generally there's no appraisal needed, no credit information. Underwriting is really easy. You don't need pay stubs, you don't need W-2s, proof of income. It's just,
just like you need a signature, and that's it.
It's a very low doc, very easy refinance.
So you should be right now you should be running right now. You should be in your car thinking, "Where's my mortgage statement?" You need to go home. You need to find your mortgage, and if you're already home, open up the envelope and look to see what it is, and let's see if there's any way to lower that. Because I'm telling you, you will regret this later. And you know what's funny? I know there's a lot of you out there. I know where you are. I know you have these super high VA interest rates, and you're sitting, for whatever reason in the world, you're not doing anything with them. You're not doing anything.
If you're not going to do anything, give it to me.
All you're doing is giving away money every single month because you're either you think it's too daunting, either you're intimidated, whatever the reason is, you're sitting on that high interest rate, and the only person who's happy is the lender who's getting a very high interest rate.
Yep.
You have opportunities to lower it. Now, if you have it already a good one, then good for you. But tell all your friends who don't, because this is one of those things that I'm telling you, the interest rates are going to start going up here soon. I don't know when, but sooner or later, they're not going to stay down this low. You know, the Feds raised the short-term interest rate not too long ago. It's going to have effects down the line on all interest rates. So you really, really need to think about, you know, getting yourself in order before that happens. Otherwise, you're going to be like, oh, my God, I missed the boat. And you don't want to feel like that.
And most people are you know, concerned about the costs. And, you know, you can actually do a streamlined refinance with no money out of pocket.
Well,
so explore that.
I do that. So anyway, to end this conversation on VA and to jump to our next topic, I just want to mention if you guys have a VA loan right now, please just do what I say. I mean, please go check it out, see what your interest rate's at, and if you think that it might be high, then give Will Afzali, our Frontier Loan Group, a call, because I'm telling you, you're gonna regret it if you sit there and wait.
And in most cases, you can, let's say you've already had, you know, you're 5 years into your loan, you know, you got 25 years left, you can refi. Maybe even keep the same rate and actually reduce your term to a 20-year and just shave off 5 years.
Well, the next thing I want to talk about real quickly is Star Wars.
Okay.
And Will Afzali is in front of a computer right now because he made a very bold statement last week, right at the ending credits, so Paul could not defend himself. And what was that statement he made, Paul?
Something about Star Wars. I don't know.
Star Wars not being as good as what everybody else says. It was not as good as he anticipated. So we're gonna see how well informed Will is to have made that statement.
Will is sitting in front of Google. Is that really fair?
No, he is sitting in front of Google, but we're not going to give him
Google is my best friend. Come on.
Will, the gold guy in Star Wars. What is his name?
He goes Star Wars unique
The gold guy.
Oh my! You guys, are you serious?
He's literally Googling.
Don't type.
No,
Will's typing. He's turning red.
You can't.
No, you talking about CP30?
C3P0. Did you hear that, people?
He's reading it off the computer. And
you
he's
are
so
never allowed on this show again. C3P0.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
I think that what that just does is
he's the Tin Man.
The Tin Man. He calls him the Tin Man.
It's Star Wars, not Wizard of Oz.
So he made that bold little thing right when we were giving the ending credits last week, and he made that. Oh, it's not as good.
As it was closing. No second left.
So I wanted everyone to know.
It's 3PO. We all know that.
Oh.
It is.
I know it. I'm just messing.
Let's ask you who's the guy all dressed in black?
Darth Vader.
Oh, you got that one.
Come on, guys.
Now here's a trick question.
But
what is his real name? What is his real name?
Darth Vader.
What was his birth name?
What is it?
What is it?
What is his birth name?
They only made 3 movies about it, Will, so you should probably know.
Hey, you know what, guys? We're here to talk about real estate and mortgage loans. We are getting way off topic on a Wednesday.
Well, I think I proved my point.
I think we're finally on topic.
In all seriousness, that movie was great, but come on, it was not like the other Star Wars films, right?
Okay.
Oh.
Wait, whoa.
Do you agree with
okay.
this?
Have you seen it?
I've seen it a couple of times. Easy question. Who directed this movie?
J.J. Abrams.
Okay.
Come on.
Who?
Abrams.
No.
Of course. A very good director,
Abrams,
but
not Abrahams.
I didn't say Abrahams. Abrams.
It did sound like Abraham.
Well, you guys calm down.
Who directed the other movies?
Lucas.
What's his first name?
George. Come on.
Okay.
USC.
Okay.
USC, baby.
I think we all.
He's been practicing for a few weeks.
Come on, this guy's famous. He's probably one of the top 3 producers in Hollywood.
I think all of you out there listening, you understand my point about the validity or of his opinion on Star Wars.
The Star Wars, this movie, you know what it is? It's kind of like Kobe Bryant right now. You know, he was good back in the days, but now he's so-so.
Okay.
And this movie is kind of like this old Kobe Bryant. You know, his ankle's hurting, his Achilles is hurting. Harrison Ford is not that funny in this movie. I don't know what the point of him was.
No, okay.
I think this conversation's over.
Yeah. You know your real estate. We'll stick with me for the sci-fi
right, that's what I think we should do. I just wanted to prove a point because last week he tried to be sneaky. So I think we proved that point. So real quick before we end the show, which it's very sad. It goes by so fast. I love just sitting here with all you guys and talking, but radio time moves much faster than real time. Let me just tell you that.
It does.
So here's something that I got, an article that I got. 20 tips to get your credit in check in 2016. Number one, I'm going to go through them and we'll talk about a couple here. Number one, talk to a lender. We talked about that in the first segment. Number two, check your credit. We also talked about that. That is a very important thing to do. See what's going on. Number three, dispute anything that's incorrect. And I think that's really important, too, because if you see something on there and you're like, what's that? That's not right. Well, then do something about it and fix it, okay? Number four, don't waste your time trying to get collection accounts off your credit report. This says, be aware that paying off a collection will not remove it from your credit report, said MyFICO. It will stay on your credit report for 7 years. So this article is saying you don't necessarily waste your time with those types of things. Number five, set little goals. Paying off a large balance can seem overwhelming. Setting weekly or monthly goals to pay down your credit can make it feel more manageable. And I think that's a really good idea for just budget management in general. You're just going to, take a few less Starbucks every week and then, put that towards your debt. Start paying that sucker off. I mean, it's only going to help you in the long term. So all of you out there addicted to coffee, maybe one less coffee a week or a couple of coffees less a week will help you out financially. Number six, pay off the smallest accounts first. Number seven, or pay off the account with the highest rate first. Yeah, pick one. Is it pick either the highest interest rate or the ones with the smaller numbers? Negotiate your rates. You could call your creditors and get your. I know a lot of you guys don't even know this. If you call your creditor on your credit card, a lot of times you can negotiate with them to either get the amount lowered. They'll negotiate with you.
Oh yeah. Especially if you tell them, look, I'm getting offered a 0%, to do a balance transfer.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing what you can do. Another thing is transfer balances. You can make it easier to pay your balances by taking advantages of existing cards that offer introductory rates. So you could transfer your balances to a 0% interest rate and then make the payments there, and you could really make some headway on that.
Yep.
Number 11, don't have a card with a low rate. Open a balance transfer credit card. Number 12, get a secured card. If you're trying to reestablish your credit after a bankruptcy or after paying off old delinquent accounts, get a secured card from a bank that can help you build it back up. Number 13, even if you can't wipe out all of your debt now, pay down your balances. Okay, pay them down, get them lower, because there are certain thresholds of where your outstanding balance is versus what you owe. So, what your credit amount is. So, let's say you get it down below 50% of what you're eligible to borrow, that'll help your credit score. So, getting those balances down beyond certain thresholds really, really helps out. The optimum is 30% or lower. And then here's probably the most important one: pay your bills on time. Make sure you're paying them on time, people, because you're going to be in this never-ending catch-22 if you're trying to repair your credit and you're late on your credit. So I'm making payments, so don't do that. And then set up your accounts on auto pay, because that will definitely help ensure that you're on time. So it looks like we're out of time for today. So I want to thank my special guest today. I want to thank Will Afzali, the lending manager for Frontier Loan Group. Thank you for coming in, Will. And sorry to pick on you a little bit about the Star Wars, but it's all in fun, Will. It's all in fun.
I need to accept defeat.
Yeah, it's all in fun.
Away.
And thank you, Michelle Herrera, Michael Gaddis Realty Group.
Michael.
I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come down here.
Yes.
And thank all of you for listening. I really appreciate you all for taking the time to listen to the show. As always, I'm here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m., and I look forward to talking to you next week. You're listening to The Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.